Yo, this nigga rolling. What's up with you, bro?
You swinging at me?
Oh, don't swing at me, bro. I gotta do that. I don't know.
Take one.
Yo, I didn't touch you. Yo, Matt, the Yo, get away. Ah, you tight. You tight. Nah. Look at you. Yo, look at that. Look at that.
We are learning that deadly attack started with a dispute over a sandwich order.
Why did you stab a postal worker? Was it over a sandwich?
A woman is facing murder charges after a deadly stabbing in a Harlem deli. Police say a postal worker was killed after getting into an argument about who was first in line to order.
How does a routine trip to grab lunch turn into a life or death confrontation? What could drive someone to commit such an unthinkable act over something so seemingly trivial? These are the haunting questions surrounding the tragic death of Ray Hodges, a dedicated postal worker, loving father, and beloved member of his neighborhood. On January 2nd, 2025, a Thursday afternoon in Harlem, in the middle of a busy workday, Ray Hodges walked into a deli on Lenox Avenue. He was just another customer, likely thinking about his next delivery, or perhaps what he'd bring home to his kids later that evening. But in a matter of moments, his life would be cut short in a violent and shocking encounter that no one saw coming. The details that follow reveal a clash that escalated in ways no one could have imagined. What began as a dispute over something as ordinary as a place in line ended in a brutal stabbing that left an entire community reeling and a family forever broken. Why did this happen? Who is the person responsible? And how could a moment of frustration spiral so catastrophically? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking events leading to Ray Hodges' untimely death, the troubled past of the accused, and the aftermath of a tragedy that has left many heartbroken and two young boys fatherless. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our latest stories. 36-year-old Ray Hodges wasn't just another postal worker. He was a man defined by unwavering dedication to his family, to his job, and to his future. For Ray, each day started with purpose. Every morning, without fail, he walked his two young children to school, ensuring their safety and setting the tone for their day. To his neighbors, this was Ray, dependable, hardworking, and deeply rooted in his role as both a father and a provider. Since 2022, Ray has been working as a United States Postal Service letter carrier based in Manhattan, New York. It was more than a job. It was a step toward building a better life for his family. Friends recall how proud he was to wear the uniform, to be someone his kids could look up to. He was known for his reliability and the way he connected with those on his route, lifting his family out of poverty and giving his children the opportunities he hadn't had. Ray was an honorable and respectful man, his brother said. He worked hard and always put his family first. But dedication didn't make him immune to tragedy. On that fateful Thursday, Ray was simply doing what he always did, working to provide, thinking of his kids, and grabbing a quick bite to eat before heading back out on his route. How could someone with so much love to give, with such clear goals for his family, find himself in the path of such senseless violence? What happened next would not only take Ray away from those who depended on him, but would leave an entire community reeling and heartbroken. Harlem is a historic neighborhood in Upper Manhattan, New York City, renowned for its rich cultural heritage, particularly as a center of African American art, music, and literature during the Harlem Renaissance. Known for its significant role in the civil rights movement and known for its vibrant art scene. Home to the Apollo Theater, a legendary music venue. Currently a diverse neighborhood with a mix of residents and a growing arts and cultural scene. Like many major cities, New York City experiences varying levels of crime, including violent crime. While crime rates have fluctuated over the years, Harlem, like other urban areas, has faced challenges related to crime and safety. It was lunchtime in Harlem, and the deli on Lenox Avenue was alive with its usual energy. The sounds of orders being called out, the hum of conversation, and the rhythmic clatter of cash registers filled the air. For locals, this wasn't just a place to grab a quick bite. It was a regular stop, a familiar part of their daily lives. Ray Hodges was no stranger here. As a regular, he often stopped by during his route, knowing he could count on the spot for a fresh sandwich and a brief reprieve from the demands of the day. The deli was just blocks away from his route, a place where faces were familiar and a simple meal came with a side of camaraderie. It all began with what seemed like a minor misunderstanding, something so trivial it might have gone unnoticed on any other day. Inside the crowded deli on Lenox Avenue, Ray Hodges, while on duty, branched the deli to grab a quick lunch. He stood waiting for his turn at the counter, just like he had done countless times before. But this time, another customer, Jaia Cruz, approached the counter at nearly the same moment. According to eyewitnesses, a brief argument broke out over who had been first in line. It was the kind of disagreement most people would shrug off, but not today. Tensions escalated quickly. Customers nearby recalled raised voices, each man standing firm. A deli worker later recounted, "I tried to tell them it wasn't a big deal, that we'd get to both of them, but neither of them wanted to back down." For those watching, it seemed like a fleeting incident, a flare-up that would soon fade. But others noted something unsettling in the air, a sense that this wasn't going to end with just words. At this point, no one could have guessed that the confrontation would take a deadly turn. But what happened next would leave everyone questioning how such an ordinary moment could erupt into unimaginable violence. The confrontation had already drawn the attention of nearly everyone in the deli. Voices were raised, tempers flared, and then an act that would take things beyond the point of no return. At about 2:30 p.m., Jaia Cruz suddenly spat at Ray Hodges. Standing inches from Ray, he pulled out a knife. The escalation was instantaneous. Within seconds, Cruz lunged and the knife made contact. Hodge was starred multiple times in the chest, neck, and arms. Ray staggered, clutching his side. Blood began to stain his shirt, and the bustling deli fell into chaos. One customer, frozen in disbelief, later said, "It happened so fast. No one even realized what was going on until we saw the blood." Amid the chaos, a few brave bystanders rushed to Ray's side. Others called 911, their voices frantic. "He was gasping for air," one of them recalled. "We were trying to stop the bleeding, but it just wouldn't stop." Paramedics arrived minutes later and worked urgently to stabilize him. Ray was rushed to the nearest Harlem hospital, but the injuries were severe. Despite the doctors' best efforts, Ray Hodges was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. A simple lunch break had turned into a devastating tragedy. And now the question looms, how did a minor dispute escalate to such irreversible violence? I saw them separate. The male guy was in the front and the lady was in the back. Then she spat right in his face. The male guy, he got furious. There was some lemon juice near the coffee machine, and he threw it at her. That's when she grabbed the knife. The deli worker recalled, "This is so bad. I've never seen anything like this happen right in front of me before."
We are learning that deadly attack started with a dispute over a sandwich order. Eyewitness News reporter Stephon Kim with new details.
Homicide detectives tonight exited this Harlem deli's doors with evidence in hand. What's behind these deli doors? Too gory for this broadcast. Workers inside left mopping the blood-stained floors late into the night.
I know the guys who deliver milk, and just like that, he's gone. It's very scary. It's very, very scary.
Cops say an on-duty postal worker was fatally stabbed and slashed after getting into a dispute with another customer inside. The 36-year-old, police say, was stabbed and slashed multiple times in his torso, arms, back, and neck. It happened around 2:30 this afternoon at 168 Lenox Avenue in Harlem. The victim's postal cart still sitting on the sidewalk outside. That postal worker was rushed to Harlem Hospital where he was pronounced dead. About a dozen of his distraught colleagues rushed to the scene. They struggled with how to process the violent attack.
All I'm gonna say is he was a nice young man. That's it.
As for what started this argument, deli workers say this was all over a sandwich, an argument about who placed their order first. Investigators say the 24-year-old alleged assailant is in custody, a person with no obvious criminal history. A friend of that person says she would not have attacked anyone without cause.
She's a nice young lady. She is not the type that just come out in the street and attacking people. This is just a bad neighborhood. What had happened, I have no idea because I was not around here. I don't know, but I do know if she said it was in self-defense, it was in self-defense.
Investigators say a weapon was recovered at the scene, though it's unclear what that weapon was. In Harlem, Sefon Kim, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And within the last few minutes, we have learned the identity of the victim, 36-year-old Ray Hodges of the Bronx. That suspect identified as Jaia Cruz, 24 years old. She lives in Harlem. And tonight, she is charged with first-degree murder.
Who was Jaia Cruz? And how did her history lead to the events of that fateful day? Jaia Cruz is a 24-year-old transgender woman who grew up in Harlem, New York. Cruz had a history of violence. In 2020, a pattern began to emerge. First, a chilling incident in Midtown West. Cruz, brandishing an open box cutter, threatened another individual, screaming, "I'm gonna cut him." She resisted arrest, escalating the situation further, as seen in this video.
You should have left them niggas alone, bro.
I didn't touch you. Yo, Matt, get away! Yo, Matt! Yo, get away! Ah, you tight! You tight! Look at you! Yo, look at that! Bugging!
And then one dumb ass my wallet.
What the fuck he or she? Yo, we out.
Just weeks later, a disturbing escalation. Cruz, this time with an accomplice, robbed a man at knife point, stealing his phone and wallet. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was a disturbing trend. Court records revealed that it wasn't her first run-in with the law. Her criminal record stretched back years, with multiple arrests for theft, assault, and disorderly conduct. Yet despite these warning signs, Cruz remained on the streets. Questions linger about how someone with a documented pattern of violence continued to avoid long-term incarceration. Was it the result of a system stretched too thin, or were critical red flags ignored? But this wasn't just about a person with a troubled past. It's about a system that failed to intervene. With prior arrests and escalating aggression, why was she still in a position to harm someone like Ray Hodges? I see the LGBTQ community rallying round her, as she is one of them, with the hashtag Justice for Jaia Cruz. Though Jaia might have been a victim of violence at some point due to what she chose to be identified as, it still doesn't give her the right to take a life. No one has that right. Someone said, if the table was turned and she was the victim, everyone would have been silent and nothing could have been done. But that isn't true. We have created quite a number of videos where a trans was the victim and the suspects were made to face the consequences. Ray Hodges was more than just a man. He was a father, a brother, a friend. And when his life was violently taken, the loss echoed far beyond his immediate family. In the Bronx, the news spread quickly. People couldn't believe it. Ray, a hardworking father who walked his kids to school every day, was gone. In the days that followed, neighbors and family members gathered outside his apartment, placing candles and flowers in his memory. The makeshift memorial grew larger with each passing hour, a silent testament to the grief of a neighborhood that had lost one of its own.
It's just messed up that the family got to go through this.
This man says he grew up with Hodge.
He was trying to just make some money. You know, that's it. Just getting up, doing what he got to do to provide for his kids.
Hodge's brother echoing that in a statement, saying, quote, he was an honorable and respectful man who took care of his family. Police say while on the job as a mail carrier, Hodge was fatally stabbed Thursday when he was ordering a sandwich at a deli in Harlem.
Why? Like, senseless.
They took one of the good ones from us and all that.
You know, go from one stage of life to the next to better himself.
was anything you could ask from a kid.
How do you move on from something like this? What kind of impact does a tragedy like this leave behind? And are we learning from it, or is it just another life lost to violence? Jaia Cruz was arrested in her home shortly after the fatal stabbing, facing serious charges that would shape the future of this case. Authorities charged her with second-degree murder and manslaughter. The knife, a clear piece of evidence, was recovered at the scene, a brutal reminder of the life lost. The webcam in the grocery store recorded everything that happened, and it's now in the possession of the authorities. But the question on everyone's mind? Would Cruz face justice?
Police have arrested a 24-year-old woman after a postal worker was stabbed to death inside a Harlem deli. Jaia Cruz is charged with murder in the attack, and now the victim's former colleagues are struggling to process what happened. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate joins us live from Harlem with more. Phil?
Yeah, Charlene, this is just a heartbreaking story. Jaia Cruz has now been charged with murder as police say that she is the person who allegedly killed this postal worker, Ray Hodges, while on the job. This corner store that you see right behind me had turned into a crime scene, and we're told that an argument went off the rails that was all about who ordered a sandwich first. I want to get straight to some video right now as our cameras were rolling as we saw this 24-year-old Jaia Cruz. She was walked out of the 28th precinct. Now, she didn't utter a word as she was bombarded by questions from reporters, and this just hours after this deadly incident here on Lenox Avenue around 2:30 yesterday. Now, Hodges, a Bronx man, was stabbed multiple times inside of this deli from his torso, arms, back, and neck. Now, police did recover a knife here on the scene. Now, the 36-year-old's final breaths will be taken on the jobs as doctors at a local hospital couldn't save his life. Now, we spoke to a friend of the alleged killer and the victim who are both reeling from this tragedy. Let's take a listen.
All I'm gonna say is he was a nice young man. That's it.
She's a nice young lady. She is not the type that just come out in the street and attacking people. This is just a bad neighborhood. What had happened, I have no idea because I was not around here. I don't know, but I do know if she said it was in self-defense, it was in self-defense.
Yeah, so many questions still left unanswered. This investigation remains ongoing, and Hodges does become the fourth homicide of the first 2 days of the year.
Well, David, yes, everything wrapped up here within the last 20 minutes. It ended this way with the judge letting the defendant know that she was remanded. That means that she will not be getting out. We also found out that the NYPD has video of everything that unfolded inside that deli and what happened afterwards. The defendant's family was in court today. We did not see anyone who appeared to be here for the victim earlier today. People who support the victim were in Harlem. We learned today that Cruz will be back in court here on January 8th. When her family left, they ignored the media. They did not want to talk about what happened yesterday. We also learned on that videotape that the police have, it shows the exact struggle, how she then knifed him in the back and other places on his body multiple times. The prosecutor said that it was graphic and gruesome. And then when they found Cruz, when the police found Cruz at her house, they say that she was sitting in the lobby and she was bleeding. Erica Byfield, News 4, New York.
A grand jury indicted her, confirming that there was enough evidence to hold her accountable for Ray's death. Yet, this was only the beginning. The legal proceedings were far from over. As the case moves forward, Cruz's next court date looms. What could the outcome be? With the severity of the charges, could she face decades behind bars, or will something else happen? The road to justice for Ray Hodges is still unfolding, and with every new piece of information, the tension grows. It's a staggering reality. How often do minor disagreements escalate into violence? A simple dispute over who's first in line at a deli, a minor insult, a fleeting moment of tension, and yet it ends in a death. Ray Hodges lost his life over a trivial argument. Something so small as a sandwich, yet it cost him everything. Sadly, this isn't an isolated incident. Across the United States, violence stemming from everyday conflicts is on the rise. In 2021 alone, nearly 10,000 people were victims of fatal assaults following arguments or disagreements. The question is, what's driving this surge in extreme reactions? Is it the pressures of daily life, the social climate, or something deeper? And perhaps more importantly, how can we as a society stop these tragedies from continuing? What do you think? Is it just a matter of tempers flaring, or is something else at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Can we prevent violence like this, or are we destined to keep seeing these horrific outcomes? Ray Hodges' story is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly life can change. A routine lunch, a simple disagreement, and in an instant, everything is shattered. His death was a senseless act, one that has left a family, a neighborhood, and countless others grappling with the weight of a life lost too soon. But we must ask ourselves, what can we learn from this tragedy? As we reflect on Ray's life and his aspirations to create a better future for his children, let it serve as a reminder that we must strive for a society that values compassion and peace over conflict. This is more than just a story, it's a call to action. It's a plea for us to do better. Let's honor Ray's memory by learning from this loss and working towards a safer, more understanding community. This story doesn't just end with the loss of one man. It's a wake-up call to all of us. We need to think about how we handle disagreements and how we protect each other in tense situations. What are your thoughts about this whole story? What could we, as individuals or as a society, do to prevent tragedies like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you are looking for more true crime stories with mystery, thrilling suspense, justice for victims, and understanding human behaviors, subscribe now to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon below. Don't hesitate to check out our other videos as well. Join the discussion, and together, we'll explore how we can make a difference in our society. Thank you for watching, and remember to reflect, engage, share, and act.